Welcome to the News Hub here on WSJ Live. I'm Clemency Burton-Hill. Coming up on today's show, we'll be analysing the markets, of course, including key economic data that's out today, and we'll be crunching the numbers behind the perception that Manhattan real estate has never been more expensive. But first, Facebook. This time last year, it didn't even have a decent mobile app. It was all about the desktop user experience. But when Zuckerberg saw user growth exploding on smartphones, he turned on a dime. Now Facebook have totally rebuilt their mobile app. Rolf Winkler is our Heard on the Street columnist here at the Wall Street Journal. Great story in today's paper. And to tell us all about how Facebook has broken free with mobile. Tell us.
They've done well. So you said it in your intro. Basically, look, this is a company that year and a half ago it was focused on something called basically mobile web. If you use your phone and you use your browser on your phone to access your websites, you're not necessarily getting as good an experience as if you open up a particular app, a native app, the Facebook app itself. You just get a lot more functionality. Mark Zuckerberg has said that that was a big mistake, that he was focused on mobile web and not building a good app for people. So fast forward, he's seeing the growth explode on mobile, turns on a dime, starts reinvesting in those mobile apps. He also didn't have a business, and he grafted a business onto it entirely. A year ago, they were making no money in mobile at all. This last quarter, $300 million.
Pretty good. I like your opening line. He likes to break things. He likes to move fast, and he's not afraid to break things.
That's a play on Facebook's, one of their mottos from the S1, move fast and break things.
Exactly. Now, obviously, there have been predictions lately that Facebook's cool factor is kind of on the decline, but that's not being reflected in the numbers. That's
another good thing, is that the user numbers keep growing, and these don't include, one thought I had is, wait, are they including Instagram, which has, I think, 90 million users or so, a big number, but they're still growing users exclusive of Instagram. They had 680 million mobile users. That was kind of a subset of the 1.1 billion, 1.1 billion total users monthly. I mean, they're not in China, right? So of the remaining part of the world which they address, is that it's 20% of the world population, and they're still growing. I mean, that was 5% up from the previous quarter.
And people I know a year ago or so were worried about where that growth was going to come from. I mean, clearly it's not stopping. Are there any concerns about what happens next?
Well, yes. I mean, the mobile revenue is good. Is that mobile growth wasn't as good as some people thought. At the end of last quarter, the CFO said on the call they were doing about $3 million a day. He implied about $3 million a day of mobile revenue. That was on a run rate exiting the quarter, which implied at that time about, let's say, $270 million. They only did $306 million this quarter. Some people thought, given they were going from zero to nothing, that 270 run rate would grow to something much more spectacular by the end of this quarter. So the fact that it didn't suggests that the mobile growth rate is tapering off in Q4. So some people are thinking, oh, well, wait a minute, it's not just the trajectory isn't straight up right now.
And as you were saying, you know, the growth numbers are staggering all over the world, but for a lot of people, they might not have the bandwidth on their phone, they might not have the smartphone technology. How is this impacting the desktop user experience now?
Well, the first question you ask, you're right about the difference in smartphone experience across the world. And of course, this is very important for Facebook because it's an advertising business, right? Advertisers, the advertising market in the US and in Western Europe is very well developed, and they're willing to pay a lot more per impression, if you will, to get in front of you as a smartphone user. So a lot where people aren't willing to pay as much. So you see the average revenue per user, especially on mobile, coming down. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's good to be adding users, and theoretically that monetization will catch up over time.
At some point, the whole world will be on Facebook, and then there won't be anywhere left for them to grow. Thanks, Rolf Winkler, as ever, all over that Facebook story. It is in today's journal on Heard on the Street.